Hi guys, welcome to Counterpoints. My name is Connor, and today we're going to be breaking down the brand spanking new Titan animation Kill Lupercal Episode 1. It has some beautiful details with a healthy chunk of violence, so I'm ecstatic to be breaking it down for you today. This episode is brought to you by Mastermind Models and Miniatures. They are a phenomenal paint studio out of Huntsville, Alabama, who are waiting for your commission idea. You know darn well that you're just going to spend another fortune on plastic gray kits that are just going to sit there in your pile of shame, and it will take years to get them on the battlefield. Instead of procrastinating, let Mastermind Models and Miniatures bring your imagination to life. Go to the link down in the description below and tell them that we sent you.
Awaken now, Aurora Ferrum.
Flushing hydraulics, motivation, reports pre-start set. So advised, stand by. She wakes, my princeps.
Thank you, Moderati. Clear the floor. All Agamemnon. You know me. I am here. I would walk with you. By the grace of the Holy Omnissiah, I am your princeps. You know me. Aurora Ferrum. We will walk together, you and I. Perhaps for the last time. Fusion attained with Mind Impulse Unit.
So advised, my princeps. Running connective diagnostics. Cognitive, clear. Peripherals, clear. Neural, clear.
We have an accord.
Intrinsic musculature in viable accordance.
Oh, she wants to walk. I can feel it in every inch of sacred iron. We are Aurora Ferrum of the Legio Griffonicus. The defense of the Imperial Sanctum is our only imperative. The palace must not fall. The forces of the traitor Lupercal must be denied, no matter the cost. We walk upon terror.
We meet Princeps Olagamnon of the Legio Griffonicus during the Siege of Terra, who is pacing back and forth in a Mechanicus repair facility. For setup, Warhammer is a massive setting, and the Siege of Terra is one of the biggest battles of the Horus Heresy, the Civil War, set in the 30th millennium that in turn sets up the Warhammer 40k universe set in the 40th millennium. Keeping it as short as possible while assuming we have some noobs. Humanity conquered the stars, but its galactic spread was interrupted by two major events. In the 23rd millennium, the War with the Men of Iron was a cybernetic revolt that led to humanity distrusting technology and artificial intelligence. In the 25th millennium, massive warp storms kicked off the Age of Strife. Human civilizations were cut off from interstellar travel, driven insane, regressed culturally and technologically, were possessed by demonic incursions, and predated upon by horrible aliens. In the 29th millennium, at the end of the Age of Strife, the Emperor Mankind, an immortal, psychically powerful demigod, revealed himself desiring to unite all of humanity. He claimed that there were no gods, all could be understood and therefore conquered, and he created a series of transhuman warriors to help him in that great crusade. The Emperor created the Primarchs, great generals, each with a specialization, whose genetic material was in turn used to make Space Marines. Space Marines are 8-foot-tall transhuman demigods of war who embarked on the Great Crusade to unite all of humanity through conquest and diplomacy. One of the Emperor's Primarchs, Horus Lupercal, fell to a demonic blade. Rather than die, he was offered power by dark gods of the warp to conquer humanity in their name. Horus rebelled against his father, swayed half of the legions of the Space Marines to his cause, and invaded Terra and Mars, hoping to kill the Emperor and take over the Imperium. Many were swayed by Horus's charisma and rebelled against the Emperor, seeking their own power, but many others remained loyal to the Imperium and its Emperor. Brother fought brother and cousin fought cousin in raging battles across the galaxy. The Titan Legion of the War Griffins was founded on the planet of Griffon 4. Nestled within the Imperium of Man is a hypocrisy. While the Emperor proclaimed there were no gods, and that reason could explain and render all knowable, he had to exploit the religious beliefs of the Mechanicum of Mars. During the Age of Strife, Terra was cut off even from its close neighbor. There was a tech cult that arose on Mars that worshipped knowledge as divine, and who had a prophecy of a leader who would save all of humanity. The Emperor stepped into that prophecy of the Omnissiah, allowing the cult of Mars to worship him as a god of knowledge. This pact meant that Mars could keep its religion, have a monopoly on all technology within the Imperium, and the Emperor would provide psychic navigators for their ships. In payment, Terra got access to the Titan legions of the cult, and access to their many warships to explore and conquer the galaxy. Griffon 4 was one of the earliest successful operations of the Great Crusade, and from a single humble forge world, the Mechanicus was able to build an octad, or an 8-system empire similar in culture and sovereignty to the 500 worlds of Ultramar. The War Griffin Titans were so used to operating with infantry as they had during the formation of their empire, that when their banners were called back to the Great Crusade, they had no issue being some of the Emperor's most loyal servants along with the Imperial army. The Legio Griffonicus served in the Rang-Dan Xenocides and the Anti-Orc campaign on Ulanor. When Horus declared his rebellion, the Legio, though scattered across the galaxy, stuck true to their oaths to the Emperor. Princeps Olagemnon is one such loyalist, and a fierce one at that. At the beginning of the cinematic, she is practically begging the tech priest at this birth to tell her that Aurora Ferrum, her Warlord-class Titan, has reached 70% combat efficiency and therefore is ready to stride back into battle. Translated into Low Gothic, the Iron Dawn is only at 66% combat efficiency, but with her being out of service for 18 hours and with the traitors pressing on the Imperial Palace of Terra, the Princeps chooses to override the priest and walk into battle. For all of humanity's distrust of machines, it is still reliant on some automated intelligences. Within each Titan is a machine spirit, a powerful will that controls many of the subroutines of the war machine. Titan Princeps have to merge with this will in order to pilot it, meaning that each bonding and walk is a physically and spiritually arduous experience. We watch Princeps Olagemnon gain a bargain with the machine spirit, that though they may die in battle, they will give a vicious accounting before they fall.
Solution 9X. Moderati, we had a positive acquisition.
Sensoria just dropped out again, my Princeps. Recalibrating Auspex.
Do what you can.
They warned us. An intermittent signal is...
I know what they told us, Moderati. Focus. Did that help?
No, my Princeps. Help me.
We need to see. If the Auspex is dead, slave all picked feet from the targeting services to my station.
Voids to full!
Diverting power. Voids at full radiance. Tacitus, my princeps.
I have it.
Ground targets identified. The traitor 16th, my princeps. Sons of Horus.
Traitor bastards.
Composing target solutions.
No need. Autoloaders.
Priming, princeps.
Brace!
Aurora Ferrum is striding into traitor lines looking for worthy prey. At 66% combat efficiency, the 33-meter-tall walker is still a formidable combatant, although unfortunately for the crew, it's partially blind. The suite of sensors and cameras on the outside of the Ferrum blink in and out, meaning that they are already taking ground fire from the Sons of Horus before they realize they're even in battle. Originally, the Emperor created 20 genetic templates for the Primarchs and 21 Primarchs. A fellow geneticist named Erda helped them in that creation, and if the Emperor was their father, then she was their mother. She was shown the fate of the Primarchs, that they would be the cold tools of conquest of the Emperor, unloved and used merely to an end, and she wanted more for her sons. Tricked by chaos, she flung her sons into the galaxy where fate was uncertain and their destiny left to chance. The Primarchs landed on planets that seemed to challenge or enhance their skills, and Horus Lupercal could not have landed on a harsher home. Chthoniya was a mining world long divested of its wealth. On its surface lay decaying mines and long-dead tunnels populated by anarchic tribal gangs. Narratives disagree, but Horus was believed to be raised in this culture and to learn its language and customs perfectly. That being said, he was found very early by the Emperor and spent much of his youth being taught by his gene-father. This closeness led to a political cunning and military competence unrivaled amongst his brothers. Horus never did anything without intent, nor was a single effort wasted. Horus was two people at once, a vicious ganger from the tunnels of Chthoniya, and the dutiful son raised at the feet of the most powerful ruler mankind has ever known. Horus was there at the end of the Unification Wars and the launching of the Great Crusade. He was the Emperor's greatest champion and one of his foremost generals, leading the 16th Legion of the Luna Wolves. The Luna Wolves were in many ways the mirrors of the competent and pragmatic Ultramarines. The Luna Wolves were masters of shock assault and worked with many cousin legions and mortal regiments in order to conquer planets into compliance. They were like a gloved hand covered in an iron gauntlet. Diplomacy led first, but if it was rejected, a smashing blow was to follow. For this long loyalty, political cunning, and martial excellence, Horus was selected as War Master. After the great victory of Ulanor over the Orcs, the Emperor left the conquering of the galaxy to his sons so he could work on the secret human webway project. This caused a resentment in the ranks as the Emperor left the fighting and dying to his sons and their sons, while diplomats and technocrats seemed fresh on their heels. The transhuman nature of Space Marines leads to a confident supremacy. There are no mortal men who can kill an Astartes in a fair fight, and only a few who can kill them in an unfair fight. So why should the Marines defer to the weakling diplomats that the Emperor sent to rule over the planets that they had just conquered? Fraternal lodges formed that allowed battle brothers to commiserate over their shared woes and ambitions. It was in these lodges that the Horus heresy was first stoked to life. Horus renamed the Luna Wolves to the Sons of Horus at the Emperor's encouragement. This was to cement the Legion as Horus's alone to command, and a special status to a renamed Legion afforded to the War Master in light of his achievements. This ego and political guile, though, was what made the heresy possible. When Horus was wounded by a demonic blade, he could not accept that he was dying. Nurgle, the god of Rot's very essence, was infused into a blade known as the Anathane and used to wound the Primarch. It was not believed that a Primarch could be killed by disease, and yet Horus worsened by the hour. In his delirium, he was brought to the Snake Lodges on Davin, a cult that worshipped chaos. Here, Horus was shown many visions. He was shown the Emperor, revered as a god, brother Primarchs purged from history and forgotten. He was shown the legions of bustling technocrats, flitting and fussing over the Imperium, denying its true glory to those who had won it. In this delirium, Horus was approached by a warp vision of his brother Magnus and told that he was being tricked. He was told there were beings in the warp who who were playing with his mind, who wished to enslave his will to their own. Magnus told Horus that in order to save the Imperium, Horus would have to let himself die. Horus couldn't accept that. Instead of dying, he opened himself to the gods of chaos. He drank from their power and began the long march of his unholy war against the Emperor and his Imperium. Horus rallied half the legions to his cause, betrayed the loyalists in his ranks, ambushed the loyalists sent after him, and corrupted half the Mechanicus and the Imperial army. By the time Horus landed on Terra, the traitors were under the sway of chaos, openly worshipping the dark gods and slaughtering loyalists in their name. Although all could see the evils they inflicted, it was too late, and they were damned anyway. Might as well go all the way and seize power for themselves. In the cinematic, it is cool to see just how small an Astartes is compared to a Titan. The smallest Titan, the Warhound Scout, stands at 17 meters, while the mighty Warlord stands at 33. While Knights are single pilot constructs, Titans are multi-crew, and can take dozens of Moderati and Servitors to tame their many complex and powerful systems. Several rockets are unleashed at the Aurora Ferrum, eventually deflected by the War Machine's warp shields. While smaller vehicles may have energy shielding, warp shields are actual projections of the warp into real space, making them nearly impervious. In response to the ground fire, the Ferrum opens up with its macro Gatling blaster. Shells the size of Marines themselves rain into the lines, ripping several squads to shreds. The Titan stomps through the lines the way humans smash through ant piles, barely noticing the pricks and bites of the creatures it just squashed.
What's our status?
Sensoria 0. Cycling for restart attempt. Shield 68. Magazine 79. Output low green.
The rest of the group, Moderati?
Transponders show Astrum Venga and Magnifica logos 1 mile behind us. And Nexus Bellum 0.5 to port.
Signal them to close up. What's our location?
Insufficient data, my princeps.
Insufficient?
Terrain mapping is blanking. It's just
9X?
all we have is the last recorded plot, which places us 8 leagues from the Lion's Gate.
Lion's Gate is 100 leagues south.
The Sensoria failure must have corrupted our data. Nothing can be trusted.
Do what you can. If this is our last charge, I'd at least like to know where our bones will lie.
Sensoria reset. We have active Auspex.
Status.
22%. Not much.
Well done, 9X. Find me those targets again.
Auspex running. Targets reacquired. 9 contact masses. Distance 2.4 leagues. Confirmed as traitor engines. Legio Mortis.
Confirmed?
Auspex running. Lead engine identified as Atrox Sardonicus.
Sardonicus? Well, there's a thing. An old score we can settle. Plot an intercept course. Steersman? Onward.
By your will, Princeps. Half stride.
I want firing solutions in 30 seconds.
In work.
Gemnon to battle group. All elements close in and form on my lead. Prepare to assault that maniple. Battle group in Violet resolved. Confirm my instruct.
Trying Voxcaster boost. Hard contact. Hard contact. Point D closing. Port.
Shit.
The Aurora Ferrum continues its march into enemy lines and is joined by 2 other warlords and a Warbringer Titan. Warhound Scouts will often act as vanguard and harassing units. Next in size are the Reavers, who are one of the most common Titan constructs. The Warbringer is a step between the Reaver and the Warlord, bristling with armaments. The Warlord class is king of the battlefield, able to destroy all threats except for the skyscraper-sized and ultra-rare Imperator-class Titan. To be amongst the God Machines is a great honor. To be chosen as a crew is even higher. To be a Moderati, a step away from great power. And to be a Princeps, a costly, dangerous, and difficult affair, but one of the highest positions in the Mechanicum. It takes an incredible will to pilot such an incredible machine, and so the Princeps must be constantly mentored, trained, and tested. The maps make it appear that they are close to the Lion's Gate, a notable entrance to the Imperial Palace, but Princeps Olegamnon notes that this is 100 leagues south from their original position. The truth is that the warp power bubbling from the titanic battles of the Siege of Terra twists the laws of physics and threw both Loyalists and Chaos forces across the battlefield. Legio Mortis, a traitor legion, has 9 war constructs marching as a part of a subdivision of a legion known as a Maniple. Undeterred by the overwhelming numbers, Princeps Olegamnon orders for formation to close up and charge the traitors. Before they can make their assault, a contact is revealed 0.8 miles to port in closing, leaving us on a cliffhanger until we get to see the battle in Episode 2. In my opinion, there's a ton of good lore and action here, but I desperately want to see the Titans duke it out. So I'm very much looking forward to the next installment. If you want to support the channel, please remember to like the video, share it with your friends, ring the bell for new videos, and comment for the comment gods. Your viewership alone helps me in the algorithm and is appreciated. If you want to take your support a bit further, please become a YouTube member or support us at patreon.com/counterpoints. Check out the other videos on the channel, support our sponsors, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until the end.